I'm reading now from our book, just
Mhm.
to make sure we haven't missed anything. Critical thinking tools for taking charge of your learning and your life. And so one of the things that this mentions is that intellectual perseverance is rarely fostered in schooling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So students are often encouraged to complete tasks quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And those who finish first are seen as the smartest and the brightest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Slowly and carefully working through tasks is not usually valued. So consequently, students come to conclude that quickness is what matters most in learning.
Yeah.
We can see all kinds of problems with that.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. One very productive way of teaching for critical thinking is Socratic questioning or questioning with students. And there's always this danger that the glib student is the one who's going to be most successful at it. The student who has an answer right on the tip of her or his or her tongue, and so what I want to do is I want to encourage students to at least have the attitude of saying, well, give me a minute to think about that. Let me pause for a moment. I don't know that I've ever had a student say that to me in class, but it would have, and I don't know, I'm not sure what my reaction would be. I'm hoping I would go, oh, that's a wonderful thing to say. Um, but I might have thought, well, how am I going to cover the content? Might have gotten in the way of
I'm sure you
that.
would
um,
have done that.
yeah, yeah, no, yeah.
So then those who are not able to speedily finish tasks come to view themselves as inadequate, stupid, or inferior.
Mhm.
This is very important because when you are thinking of accomplishing something, the goal should be achievement of your own in your own within your capacities, not in relationship with others.
Mhm.
So when I was drawing and then I continued drawing, I would ask myself, well, can I draw a picture of Martin Luther King? Am I going to be able to do that? And not, can I draw the best drawing that's ever been drawn, or can I draw one that's better than this one? But
Mhm.
can I draw one that his family members would want to hang on their wall?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so it's in school, we have this still competitive
Mhm.
nature of being encouraged rather than the sense of accomplishment that you can make on your own and within your own abilities.
Yeah. Yes, I made the joke a little while ago about feeling the need to cover the content, something that actually I didn't feel that much of a need for. But I once gave a workshop, and there was an Inuit professor of chemistry in Yukon, and he said, I asked him about what are your goals in your class, and he said, well, my goal is for students to come away understanding more of chemistry than they did when course. And what was very interesting about that to me is that it seemed very different from the way most chemistry teachers would think of what their goal is. Very often, what I think of if I'm teaching a content like chemistry is I have this content and I want my students to get this content, rather than thinking of each student getting more understanding than that student had when the student came into the course. And that seemed to me to be a very rich and individualized conception that's focused on the student learning and not on the content as something to be
Yes.
conveyed, especially conveyed quickly. Yes. Yeah.
Yes, so we've got to rethink the very way that we think about teaching and learning. And I know that in
Mhm.
my classes where I was teaching along with Richard, he always had students bring a paper to every class.
Mhm.
There was no competition. There was
Mhm.
no room for competition anywhere in the structure of the course.
Uh-huh.
It's all about what you could personally accomplish yourself as a student. So here's an assignment, write about a time when you recently became very frustrated and how you dealt with that within your mind. It could be something like that. So now you're going to write a 2-page paper on that. You're going to come to class. You're going to get feedback on that paper using intellectual standards. There's no competition there. Everyone in the class can get an A, everyone can get an F. And everyone is there helping one another by giving feedback to one another. So if we're going to encourage intellectual perseverance, we've got to radically change how we look at schooling, not just tinker with it, not
Mhm.
just tweak it with a few critical thinking, intellectually perseverant activities.
Mhm.
It's not going to work that way. We've got to take the whole thing and restructure it. And of course, this is very frightening to most teachers, and it cannot be done in most schools because the structure will not allow for it.
Mhm.
And it's
Yeah.
a great waste. It leads to a great waste in human development, in terms of human development.